tokenism as a Jew. This has been going on all the time. And during the Cass Corridor days, and it was real interesting. We had a couple little words, just informal. I remember we were talking, Debbie and I were talking a little earlier today, and I said, I don't know, just going over a few things, and I said, it's really interesting because that what was going on in the 60s and what was going on with the Cass Corridor artists, we sort of think of them as, the Cass Corridor artists, but nobody wants to bring up the issues about the women. And I was talking to Nancy Mitchnick about it because the timetable goes as I was still in undergrad school. Nancy Mitchnick was a model at that time. She did a lot of modeling for Don Mendelsohn, who's a painter, and who I married to. And we were all kind of hanging all together, and he was in the graduate studios, which I call the old boys club, which used to piss him off sometimes. But he knows now, because he's an arch feminist. He wouldn't have been married to me this long. He knew what he was getting into when I had him marching on the streets, because I was part of the Socialist Workers' Party. Okay, you're not supposed to say that. My brother was a Marxist. I was part of this. So I dragged Don into it. The women were second class in the civil rights movement. The women were second class among the Afro-American women. They were second class in the civil rights movement. That's why when Angela Davis came up talking, this was very important what Angela did. Okay, because this is during my time. It was in the art movement. It was in the Wayne State University. It was sexist. Now, when I see Tom Parrish, who was my professor, now when I see Bob Wilbert, Bob is in his 80s, I'm able to joke with him about it. I'm able to bring up some stuff. I says, you're not going to go back and tell that lady to go bake cookies. You do it now, they'll kill you. You do not say that to women now. But, back then, they were doing it. But I felt it at CCS, okay? I felt it when I was teaching at CCS, and I had to do a lot of review committees, scholarship committees, and we'd have that, and sometimes we'd split up, and I'd be with another teacher, and I want to mention his name. I was with, and it wasn't my department chairman, Eris Katroulis. It was not him. There was another faculty member, and there was a gal talking. This is coming to my mind right now. And when the guy walked out for a couple seconds to take a little bathroom break, she says, I don't know. She was a non-traditional student. She wasn't typically 18, 19. Okay, she was a little bit older, and she was already married. She had a little kid at home. So that's a lot on your plate when you have a kid. Once you have a kid, that screws your life up forever. And any girl that has a kid, what I'm talking about. You have kids, I don't even know. But, you have a daughter, I have a daughter. It takes time, and yet all the more credit you're back in that class working. Remember, she looked at me and she was so scared. She says, well, you're not kind of saying anything. She says, I don't think he likes me. I says, you got that one right, girl. I says, he's bigotry. He was prejudiced, and I liked the guy. He was a great artist. And then as soon as he came back in, I took care of that matter. I cleared. I said, don't worry about that. I'm going to take care of that stuff. But see, that was going on throughout the college. The sexism was still going on throughout the college. Then when I was curating shows, it would happen curating. Well, we got a couple women in the show, that's okay. Okay, we got 2 black women in, that's even better. And I'd come home and I would talk to John about it. I said, you can't believe the bullshit going on in here. It was it was going on in the 60s, going on in the 80s, going on in the 90s. It's going on now. It's going on nationally. And, there is a women's caucus for art. I don't know how many people in the audience right now, in our room right now, are any of you members of the Women's Caucus for Art? And this was started in the 60s. And we started in Chicago, came to Michigan. I was active in it. It's rooted in Ann Arbor. Happens to be the national president, Brenda Obama, lives in our state. She's a Michigan person right now. She was in